when we built the first arm, before we went to put it on anybody, as we always develop equipment, we do the most important thing you do, because I'm not building it for DARPA. In fact, as you can tell, I'm not bashful. After I told them they were nuts, when they started talking about what they wanted it to do, I listened to them and said, you know, I know you're paying the bills, but I'm not doing this for that, and we're not. I said, frankly, it doesn't matter what I think of my arm, and frankly, DARPA, Colonel, it doesn't matter what you think of it. It only is going to matter whether these kids want to use them, whether it's what they want, and I've got to go talk to these people. So we had started the project. We had a pretty crude prototype, and we came down here, and we went to Walter Reed with a bunch of our engineers, and they collected a bunch of these kids around the table. First of all, they have the best attitudes you'd ever, I mean, not only are they not morbidly depressed or angry or pitying themselves, these kids want to go back and help their buddies. It's astounding. But we're at a table. These guys came to a table, and we're talking to all of them, saying, look, you know, we can't make anything as good as the original equipment. We just can't. It'll be a lot better than the hook, but if we can't give you everything, do you want strength or dexterity if you have to compromise? Do you want a couple of fingers that are really good, or do you want it to cosmetically? And we would ask him a lot of questions. And there was one very quiet guy at the end, and he's leaning on one arm, because he has one arm. And the other guys are giving us a lot of opinions, and this guy at the end, we said to him, well, what do you think? Strength or dexterity if I can't give you both? And he says, well, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm the lucky guy at this table, because I lost my right arm, but I'm a lefty. So I got my dexterity. I'm the lucky guy, so listen to them. And we went on a little more. And at the end, we thanked all these guys. And they, no, we thank you for doing this. And the last guy at the end, the lucky guy, pushed his way back from the table so he could come shake our hands. And when he pushed his way back, we looked, and he has no legs. He was the lucky guy. So anyway, we're working on the arms, and we're working with a lot of good people. And there's really no villain. And I appreciate that Gary and others are pushing for this thing. But just to put it all in context, it is true that this thing took 10 years to build. It was considered a Class 3 medical device, which means you have to do extraordinary testing. And they were right to make it Class 3, because if something goes wrong with a machine that has that kind of power, somebody gets hurt. I mean, a normal wheelchair, something goes wrong, you stop. It's inconvenient. That thing has enough power going up and down those stairs. If any one of those 6 gyros or any of these things go wrong, you could put Grandma in low Earth orbit. So it's a very sophisticated, very safety-critical machine. It took 3 years, probably $50 million just to get through the Class 3 training system and testing system and evaluation systems of the Food and Drug Administration. Went through the same kind of Class 3 testing of any life-critical device. So it made it pretty expensive. But since we were working with a giant world-class company, this is not where they're trying to make their future. They were pretty much selling them at cost because it's the right thing to do. But when a number of years went by, and the reimbursement system, as you heard, I don't think because of evil, it's because people may not have all the knowledge, all the information, all the judgment. When it turned out that there wasn't a big enough lobby for the disabled community to get the same kind of support as other medical products and pharmaceuticals get, after how many years they had done this with no positive feedback on reimbursement, they said, well, we're going to support the fleet that's out there, but we can't keep doing it. It wasn't about the veterans. In fact, as I said, the veterans would have been happy to do this. The irony was, I didn't know that at the same time they're saying, well, we're not going to keep doing this. Gary and everybody else is out there trying to get the veterans the machines they need. And again, to point out there's no villains here, yes, they called me and I explained what happened, but I called our friends at J&J and said, look, you know, we can have a great debate in this country for a long time. How much health care is the average citizen entitled to? There are some people that say none. You should pay for things at value. Some people say everybody should get everything there is. It's not possible. It's naive. I don't know how we'll end the general debate over how much health care everybody deserves and how we allocate it and who pays for it. That's a big debate. It'll go on a long time. I don't know if there's a good answer, practically or philosophically. But one thing I do know, and I think everybody in this room knows, everybody at the VA knows, everybody at DARPA knows, everybody at, I hope, in this government knows, there's a huge difference between what does every citizen have some fundamental basic right or entitlement to, and what do we owe the people that we sent into harm's way. I think as a country we came a long time ago to figure out, we certainly know them all the best equipment when we send them out, and we've demonstrated we can deliver that equipment. It doesn't matter what that F-16 cost, or what that aircraft carrier cost, or what that nuclear sub cost, or what. We want these kids to have the very best stuff when they're out there protecting us, and they get it. I don't think we should count that as we gave them something. We did that for ourselves. We gave them the tools to protect us. Once they come back, if they don't come back with everything they left with, I think it's equally simple and I think undeniable to reach the conclusion that they ought to be given every conceivable technology that's even plausible to try to give them back what they lost. And as I said, I'm not sure there are a lot of villains. I think everybody agrees with that, and nobody is trying to undermine that. The reality, however, is, and I hope the great irony of this is, the number of veterans out there that need iBots versus the total population that might need iBots is small. And the irony is, I think we all hope it gets smaller and smaller. We'd love to see no more veterans ever have to deal with an IED or a rocket grenade. We'd like to think there's no more veterans that need. But in any event, if for unrelated reasons there isn't a broad enough market to keep these things out there in the context of who pays for everybody else, it's getting to be problematic to figure out how to make the quantities that the veterans need. But since we're going to figure out how to do it for the arms, which frankly take a lot more money to make than an iBot, and the iBot's already tooled, I got to believe we'll find a way to do it. I think this country shouldn't let any alternative to that happen.